It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult. Did you know that some of the most life-changing decisions could begin in the time it takes to take a deep breath? That's right. In just a brief moment of pause, the course of your life can shift dramatically, for better or for worse. Today, we're diving deep into the world of Stoicism, a philosophy that has empowered leaders, thinkers, and individuals across centuries to seize that crucial moment between stimulus and response. Stoics like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca weren't just philosophers. They were practitioners of a life where every decision is a chance to lead a more meaningful life. Stick with me as we uncover the power of thoughtful action and how, with a few simple Stoic strategies, you can transform your daily decisions and, ultimately, your life. Whether you're deciding on a career move, managing relationships, or simply choosing where to invest your energy, the wisdom of Stoicism can guide you to clearer, more deliberate paths. Let's explore how to make the space between stimulus and response your most powerful tool for change. And if you appreciate what we're doing here, the simplest favor you can do for us is hit that subscribe button and don't skip any part of the video, as every moment is packed with insights that could be the key to unlocking a wiser, more deliberate you. Let's get started. Chapter 1: The Power of Pause. The idea is to create a tiny gap between what happens to you and how you respond. This gap, this moment of pause, is where true wisdom can flourish. It's not about freezing up or stepping back from life's challenges. It's about taking control, giving yourself the chance to respond with intention rather than reacting on autopilot. Now, why is this pause so powerful? Think about the last time you reacted too quickly, maybe snapping at a friend or making a hasty decision that you later regretted. In those moments, if we had just taken a moment to breathe, to really consider our next move, things might have turned out differently. This is what the Stoics understood. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, often wrote about the space between stimulus and response. He believed that this space is where we hold our power. It's our opportunity to align our actions with our values, to ensure we're not just reacting to our immediate impulses, but acting in a way that's true to ourselves. Implementing the power of pause can start with something I call the 5-second rule. Before you react to anything, be it an annoying email, a stressful request from your boss, or even just the urge to skip your morning workout, count down from 5. During those 5 seconds, take a deep breath and remind yourself of who you are and what you stand for. These few seconds help you shift from a knee-jerk reaction to a thoughtful response. And for decisions that aren't so time-sensitive, there's the 24-hour rule. This is especially useful for bigger, life-impacting decisions. Give yourself a full day to mull things over. This doesn't mean obsessing over the problem for 24 hours straight, but rather allowing yourself the time to sleep on it, to discuss it with a trusted friend or mentor, or to simply let your subconscious chew on it while you go about your day. Often you'll find that this pause helps to dissolve the fog of urgency and emotion, revealing a clearer, more reasoned path forward. So why do we focus on this in Stoicism? Because Stoicism isn't just about enduring life's slings and arrows. It's about thriving in spite of them. It's about recognizing that while we can't control what happens to us, we absolutely can control how we respond. And that response, crafted in the crucible of a thoughtful pause, can be a profound exercise of freedom and personal integrity. By mastering the power of pause, you're not just reacting to life, you're participating in it deliberately, shaping your own story with every choice you make. Chapter 2: Perspective Shifting Techniques. This is about learning to see the world through different lenses. not just physically but mentally and emotionally too. Sometimes all it takes to solve a problem or ease a burden is a fresh perspective. This idea taps into a core principle of Stoicism, the concept that our judgments and reactions shape our reality more than the external events themselves. One of my favorite techniques to start with is called the view from above. This involves imagining yourself zooming out of your current situation. Picture yourself rising above your life, above your city, seeing everything from a higher, broader perspective. From this vantage point, things that feel overwhelming up close start to shrink in significance. This mental shift isn't just about gaining a new viewpoint. It's about understanding the relative importance of our issues. Seneca, a Stoic heavyweight, often discussed the importance of contextualizing our struggles. He believed that viewing problems from a distant perspective helps us prioritize what truly matters and dismiss what does not. Next, let's talk about role reversal. This is about stepping into someone else's shoes. Imagine how a person you admire, a mentor, a historical figure, or even a character from a book would handle your situation. Alternatively, consider what advice you would give a friend if they were in your predicament. Often, this shift in perspective reveals solutions and approaches we hadn't considered, trapped as we were in our own heads. This technique isn't just about finding answers, it's about expanding our emotional repertoire and understanding. The Stoics were big on wisdom coming from within and without, recognizing that empathy and understanding are keys to not just personal growth, but to living a virtuous life. Both techniques, the view from above and role reversal, help us challenge our immediate perceptions and encourage us to think outside our usual patterns. They teach us that flexibility in thought leads to more than just better decision-making. It leads to a more compassionate, understanding existence. By practicing these perspective-shifting techniques, we engage in what the Stoics saw as the essence of wisdom, the ability to see and think beyond the self-imposed barriers of our minds. This not only aids in overcoming personal challenges, but also enhances our interactions with others, fostering a life of harmony and understanding. So, the next time you feel stuck or overwhelmed, try shifting your perspective. You might find that the world looks quite different from another angle, and what seemed like insurmountable problems might begin to look like manageable challenges. Chapter 3: Emotional Management. Managing our emotions doesn't mean suppressing them. It means understanding them, navigating them wisely, and ensuring they don't take the wheel in decision-making. This is essential in Stoicism, which teaches us that achieving a state of apatheia, freedom from destructive emotions, is key to a rational and fulfilling life. One practical method to manage emotions is what I like to call naming the emotion. It's straightforward yet profoundly impactful. Whenever you feel overwhelmed by an emotion, whether it's anger, anxiety, or sadness, pause and name it. Say it out loud or in your mind, "I am feeling angry," or "I am experiencing anxiety." This simple act of labeling helps distance you from the emotion itself. It's not that you are the anger or anxiety, you are experiencing it. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, emphasized that it's not the events themselves that disturb us, but our interpretation of these events. By naming the emotion, we start to disentangle ourselves from the feeling and see it for what it really is. Just a temporary state that doesn't have to dictate our actions. Another powerful technique is what we can call the Stoics' pause. This is about taking a literal pause before reacting to emotional triggers. When something upsets you, instead of immediately reacting, take a deep breath. Let it fill you slowly, count to 3, and then exhale. This pause gives your rational mind time to catch up to your emotional response. It's a moment where you can remind yourself of Marcus Aurelius's advice. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This pause isn't about avoiding emotion, but about choosing how to respond to it in a way that aligns with your values and goals. These methods are more than just techniques. They are exercises in gaining freedom from the tyranny of unchecked emotions. The Stoics believed that true freedom comes from within, from our ability to govern ourselves and our responses, regardless of external circumstances. Emotional management, therefore, is not just about feeling better, it's about being better. It's about cultivating a resilience that allows you to face life's ups and downs with equanimity and grace. So, whether you're dealing with a stressful day at work, navigating complex relationships, or facing personal setbacks, remember that managing your emotions is possible and necessary for living a life of reason and virtue. Practice naming your emotions to understand them better, and use the Stoics' pause to respond to life's challenges with thoughtfulness rather than impulse. By mastering your emotions, you're not just surviving, you're thriving, empowered by the very principles that have guided great minds through the ages. Chapter 4. Rational Analysis. One of the cornerstone techniques in rational analysis is what I like to call the pros and cons list. This might sound basic, but don't underestimate its power. When faced with a decision, simply draw 2 columns. In one, jot down all the potential benefits of the decision. In the other, list the possible drawbacks. This visual representation allows you to weigh the advantages against the disadvantages in a clear, structured manner. It's a technique that echoes the Stoic emphasis on objective assessment, seeing things as they are, not as we wish them to be. As you list these pros and cons, it encourages you to step back from your initial impulses and examine the decision from a place of balance and neutrality. Another useful tool is considering the worst-case scenario. Ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? This question isn't meant to be pessimistic. Rather, it's about preparedness and perspective. By understanding the worst outcome, you can assess whether you're capable of handling it and how likely it is to occur. This technique reduces the fear and anxiety that often cloud our decision-making process. It's a form of mental rehearsal, a strategy used by Stoics like Seneca, who suggested that we periodically practice the hardships we fear. By doing so, we demystify them and reduce their emotional impact. Rational analysis, in the Stoic sense, is about more than just making good decisions. It's about aligning those decisions with a deeper understanding of our values, goals, and the realities of our situation. It encourages us not only to think more clearly, but also to live more wisely. The process of evaluating the pros and cons and contemplating the worst-case scenarios prepares us to face not just the expected outcomes, but also the unexpected ones with equanimity and resilience. Rational analysis empowers you. It turns decision-making from a source of stress into a process of engagement with your deepest self and your highest aspirations. Next time you're faced with a decision, take the time to analyze it rationally. Employ these Stoic tools of the pros and cons list and the worst-case scenario analysis. By doing so, you embrace the full spectrum of possibilities, prepare for various outcomes, and ensure that your choices are thoughtful, considered, and in harmony with your Stoic pursuit of a virtuous life. Chapter 5. Values and Principles. Stoicism teaches us that having a strong set of values isn't just about moral high ground. It's about creating a foundation that every thought, every decision, and every action can build upon. It's what gives our life direction and consistency. One key technique to ensure your decisions align with your values is what I like to call the integrity check. Whenever you face a decision, big or small, ask yourself, does this align with my core values? Is this choice going to enhance my character or diminish it? By questioning how your actions reflect your values, you are practicing what the Stoics consider the essence of wisdom, living according to nature, which includes your own true nature. Reflecting on whether your actions help or hinder your ability to live up to your principles isn't just about avoiding regret. It's about actively shaping a life you can be proud of. Another powerful method is the "Would I respect myself?" test. This involves looking at your decision through the lens of public scrutiny. Would you feel comfortable and proud if your decision were known to others? It's a thought experiment that brings clarity and honesty into your decision-making process. If the thought of everyone knowing your choice makes you uncomfortable, it might be worth reconsidering. It's a straightforward way to ensure that your actions not only align with your values, but are also actions that you'd openly stand by. Your principles are your compass in the stormy seas of life. They guide you when the path isn't clear and choices seem overwhelming. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, often discussed how our principles are tested most, not when things are easy, but when they are hard. This is why embedding your values deeply in your decision-making process is so crucial. It ensures that when tested, you can rely on these internal structures to guide you through. So, as you navigate through life's choices, from the mundane to the monumental, keep these techniques in mind. Perform an integrity check and apply the "Would I respect myself?" test. These aren't just exercises. They are practices that hone your character and fortify your life's philosophy. They ensure that every choice you make isn't just a decision, but a reflection of your deepest self. In doing so, you live not just with intention, but with integrity, crafting a life that's not only successful by external standards, but profoundly fulfilling by your own. Chapter 6. Seeking Counsel. While Stoicism teaches self-reliance and the importance of personal judgment, it also emphasizes the wisdom in learning from others. No person is an island, and sometimes an outside perspective can be the key to unlocking insights we might have missed or misunderstood. Firstly, the technique of consulting a mentor is something I hold dear, whether it's a trusted advisor, a respected friend, or a professional mentor. These individuals bring with them a wealth of experience and knowledge. They can offer advice that is not only insightful, but also objective, given their emotional distance from your dilemmas. Consulting someone who has navigated similar challenges, or who possesses a depth of knowledge in areas we're unfamiliar with, is not just helpful, it's a strategic move. Remember, Marcus Aurelius himself, a Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, had teachers and advisors to whom he turned for guidance. He recognized that wisdom doesn't come from solitary contemplation alone, but also from the shared human experience. Another practical approach is what I call the "two heads are better than one" technique. This involves discussing your thoughts and plans with a small group of trusted individuals. Each person's unique perspectives can shed light on different facets of your situation, illuminating possibilities and pitfalls you might not have considered. This collective brainstorming isn't about reaching a consensus, but about enriching your understanding and broadening your view before you make a decision. It's a method that reinforces the Stoic belief in the community and mutual support as essential components of a well-lived life. The Stoics believed in the power of dialogue, not just as a way to transmit knowledge, but as a tool for refining our thoughts and forging resilience. Engaging with others challenges our assumptions and biases, which is crucial for personal growth and wise decision-making. It reflects the Stoic practice of dialectic, where through reasoned debate and discussion, one seeks to arrive at greater truths. So, when you're at a crossroads, don't hesitate to seek counsel. Reach out to those mentors who inspire you and engage in meaningful discussions with peers who challenge and support you. By doing so, you not only leverage collective wisdom, but also honor the Stoic tradition of valuing knowledge and experience beyond one's own. Each interaction is not just a moment of learning, but an opportunity to build deeper connections and reinforce your path towards making thoughtful, informed decisions. Chapter 7. Reflecting on Past Decisions. This chapter is all about learning from experience, a concept that's central to both living wisely and practicing Stoicism. The Stoics were big on the idea of self-examination and growth from personal history, encouraging a mindful review of one's actions and their outcomes. One insightful technique we can employ is called post-mortem analysis. This might sound a bit grim, but it's actually a powerful tool for growth. After a decision has played out, whether it led to success or fell short, take some time to reflect on it. Ask yourself, what went well, what didn't, and most importantly, what could I learn from this? This method is about objectively dissecting your decisions to understand the mechanics of your choices. It's not about dwelling on the past or beating yourself up over mistakes, but rather about extracting valuable lessons that can inform your future decisions. This reflective practice is deeply Stoic. Consider the way Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, a series of reflections he used as a means to develop his philosophy and personal conduct. He wasn't just recording events, he was analyzing them, learning from them, and planning how to improve. Similarly, by conducting your own post-mortem analyses, you engage in a process that's not just about critique, but about continuous improvement. Another valuable approach is future self-reflection. This involves looking at your decisions from the perspective of your future self. Imagine yourself a few years from now, looking back at the choice you're about to make. What would you tell yourself? Would future you approve of the decision? This thought experiment helps align your decisions with your long-term goals and the person you aspire to be. It's a form of temporal perspective shifting that not only enriches decision-making, but also deepens your understanding of who you are and who you want to become. Reflection on past decisions is crucial because it turns experience into wisdom. Every choice you make, every result you experience, becomes a part of your educational journey. The Stoics believed in the power of reasoned thought to overcome emotional disturbances and improve judgment. By regularly engaging in reflective practices like post-mortem analysis and future self-reflection, you embody this Stoic principle. You not only make peace with past choices, but also set the stage for more thoughtful, aligned, and effective decisions in the future. It's about building a narrative of personal growth, one decision at a time, always moving towards a more virtuous, wise, and fulfilled self. Chapter 8. Avoiding Common Biases. As Stoics, our goal is to make decisions based on reason and virtue, not on skewed perceptions or irrational impulses. However, biases are a natural part of human cognition, and even the most disciplined among us can fall prey to them without realizing it. One critical bias we must be vigilant against is the confirmation bias. This is the tendency to favor information that confirms our pre-existing beliefs or hypotheses, regardless of whether the information is true. To combat this, we should actively seek out and consider information that challenges our views. This doesn't mean simply listening to opposing opinions, but genuinely trying to understand them. By doing so, we expand our perspective and reduce the likelihood of making decisions based solely on our biases. This aligns closely with the Stoic practice of challenging one's impressions, and ensuring they are based on reality rather than assumption. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, urged his followers to scrutinize their impressions and ensure they are justified before acting on them. Another technique to help avoid biases is the pre-mortem technique. Unlike a post-mortem, which you do after an event, a pre-mortem involves imagining that a decision has already failed and then working backward to determine what could lead to that failure. This approach helps you foresee problems and plan mitigation strategies, which can significantly improve your decision-making process. It's a proactive way of thinking that forces you to look at your decisions from different angles and anticipate challenges before they arise. It embodies the Stoic principle of foresight and preparation, being ready for potential difficulties and having a plan to address them. Both avoiding confirmation bias and practicing the pre-mortem technique are about cultivating a balanced, informed view that transcends our automatic, often unexamined, mental habits. The Stoics believed in the power of the rational mind to lead us to a good life, but they also recognized that the mind needs training and discipline to function optimally. By actively working to recognize and reduce biases in our thinking, we not only make better decisions, but also foster a more genuine understanding of the world around us. In your daily life, when faced with a decision, take a moment to ask yourself, am I considering all perspectives? Am I preparing for different outcomes? By integrating these practices into your decision-making process, you honor the Stoic commitment to living a life guided not by convenience or superficiality, but by depth, reason, and virtue. This way, each choice you make contributes not just to your immediate goals, but to the broader aim of cultivating wisdom and ethical integrity. Chapter 9. Embracing Uncertainty. One effective way to deal with uncertainty is by engaging in what I call the what-if game. This involves exploring various potential outcomes of a situation by asking a series of what-if questions. What if things go right? What if they go wrong? What can I do in each scenario? This isn't about worrying over what might happen. Instead, it's about preparing mentally for various possibilities. By doing this, you reduce the fear and anxiety that often come with uncertainty. You also equip yourself to handle whatever comes your way with composure and effectiveness. This exercise is deeply Stoic, as it echoes the teachings of Epictetus, who believed that by contemplating different outcomes, we can diminish the impact of negative events when they occur. Another powerful method is the best, worst, most likely analysis. When faced with a decision, consider the best possible outcome, the worst possible outcome, and the most likely outcome. This not only helps you gauge the range of possible results, but also grounds your expectations in reality. It's a balanced approach that prepares you to handle the worst while hoping for the best. Stoicism doesn't teach us to expect life to go one way or another, but encourages us to remain equanimous regardless of the circumstances. Both of these techniques, the what-if game and the best, worst, most likely analysis, help cultivate what Stoics regard as an essential virtue: equanimity. Equanimity means maintaining a calm state regardless of what life throws at you. It's about having an even keel through the ups and downs, not being overly elated by success nor overly deflated by failure. By practicing these techniques, you learn to view uncertainty not as a threat, but as an integral part of the human experience, one that offers valuable lessons and opportunities for growth. This approach doesn't just alleviate stress, it enhances your ability to navigate life's complexities with grace and wisdom. Embracing uncertainty in this way aligns perfectly with Stoic teachings. It transforms what many see as life's greatest challenges into its most enriching experiences. So next time you face the unknown, Instead of recoiling with apprehension, lean into it with the strategies we've discussed. Equip yourself with the Stoic mindset to turn uncertainty from a path of fear to a path of empowerment. Thank you for joining me today in exploring these timeless Stoic strategies for embracing life's complexities. Remember, every challenge is an opportunity to apply these principles and grow stronger and wiser.